when you reach a certain level of affluence, now you begin to adopt eating all those things you couldn't have before, which means you move away from eating a plant-rich food.
Yep,
You're so
yep,
right.
1000%. That's why they called it King's disease. You remember?
Yes.
So they call gout, and they actually call a couple other diseases rooted in there as well, but they call it King's disease because if you were rich and royalty, you could afford things like meat and sugar, because sugar used to be called white gold because it was so expensive. The only place you could get it was from the Caribbean. So in Europe, if they got sugar, before the slave trade, it was like only the royalty can have sugar. And so all of these diseases began to form in the royalty, obesity, heart disease, diabetes, etc., that the regular people weren't getting. So they called them the King's diseases. But the unfortunate thing today is that food has become so subsidized. You can go out and buy 5 hamburgers for $2. And now we got, regular people getting King's disease today.
Right. That's right. And it's spreading globally, like how heart disease and cancer are, at astronomical rates.
Indeed.
Now that's powerful. So you get them on the detox, you begin to talk to them about their food substances and realizing, do you provide your patients and clients with a plan in terms of like what types of plant-rich foods to eat and partake?
Yeah. So like I said, it's a mindset shift first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go there because emotional eating and food addiction is real. I never pretend like it's not something somebody really has to deal with. It's not, hey, go harder. This isn't like training at the gym. Like this is something. So a mind shift is absolutely necessary. After that is getting them to understand how to use food as medicine. And part of that is converting their kitchen into what I call a medicine cabinet. Right now it's like a graveyard. All the food is dead and the food is going to put you in the graveyard too. Right. And so we got to get them to convert the kitchen into what I call a medicine cabinet. And what I do is I kind of go through the pantries, tell them what they should have in there, go through the refrigerators, explain what they should have in there, what type of foods, what order you should buy that food in. Because when you eat plant-based, the unfortunate thing is like the food doesn't last as long because it doesn't have preservatives in it. Okay. So you got to, buy different. And once they get that sort of education and understand how to transition, everything from that point is about how to implement this all across your lifestyle. Because I always tell people that eating healthy is an act of self-love. When somebody sees you eating healthy, they're like, oh, okay. And then you think to yourself, yeah, that's right. I'm eating healthy. And so if you do that enough on a consistent basis, subliminally, you're going to be telling yourself, I love me.
That's right. Okay? That's right.
And it's so important for people to get to that point, because that's the point when they say, I can't eat that food because that food is associated with me not loving me.
Right.
And that's a really huge part of sort of making the transition. And then from there, figuring out what is your why. Most people don't have a why for why they need to be healthy. And believe me, you do need one. Most people think it's a foregone conclusion, you need to be healthy. But most of us aren't healthy, even though in America, we spend the most on healthcare, we spend the most on drugs.
Thank you.
We're still not healthy.
Well, listen, it's no different than saving. I mean, as I try and teach my kids about savings and putting money aside, it's like, well, what am I saving for?
Yeah.
They need to have a why, a purpose of what they're saving for. I'm just saving just to save. I got to actually, and I'm like, yeah. And I tell patients, your health is an investment in your health future, just like your savings is an investment in your financial future. Yeah. So I feel you with that completely.
Yeah. Eating healthy is like it's a true health savings account.
That's right. It's the only one.
Healthy, you're putting something in the health savings account.
Yeah, man. And even like when it comes to, I love what you said about loving yourself. That's one of the things that I've mentioned to folks is that, we say a lot of times in our platform on Slave Food Project about that resources go where value is placed. And talking about the absence of resources in certain disparate communities, but you can look at that for individuals. Yeah. Where they put their value is where they put their money. If they value things and cars, guess where the money goes? If they value certain things, right? And I was telling a patient, I mean, I value my health. So yeah, I have a fancy blender. Yeah, I spend a little bit more money on the quality of food I'm eating because
Right.
that's what's important to me. And
Indeed.
resources go where values placed.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yes, yes, yes. Now that's some good stuff. In the emotional eating, I mean, I literally just saw an article come across. I haven't read it in full, but saw the headlines speaking about 60% of those obese are emotional eaters, at least with the majority of those being women.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, I watched my wife had me watching the Janet Jackson documentary. Yes, I did. I do watch regular TV at times, and she spoke really about being an emotional eater.
Yeah.
And she spoke about that burden and the weight of carrying the name, and really in certain relationships where the statement was made, well, you have to go out looking like the way people expect you to look.
Yeah.
And how it caused her to go into this emotional swings of eating. And so you're so right. When we look at the connectivity between our mental health, our perception, and we hear so much negativity, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many negative thoughts going in our own mind.
Yeah.
Am I good enough? Did I say that right? Am I looking this way or that way? And then we're confronted by people who match us with the same level of negativity.
Yep.
And all it does is bring us down. It doesn't allow us. And we wonder why there's so much mental disorder inside this country and why it's coming to light like this.
100%. And most of the time when people are eating emotionally is because they're trying to fill an emotional void with food. Yeah. And they do that because food is filling. I mean, that's what food is for. It's to fill us up. It's to nourish us. But you can't fill an emotional void with food. No, I mean, even if it's healthy food, you're not filling the void. Yeah. And so I also talk to them about methods and ways of how you fill that void without food, because it's really important to know that, because it's good to know, like, hey, I'm eating emotionally, but okay, what do I do not to eat emotionally? Like, that's really important as well.
Man, I'm kind of feeling this is almost like a truth about weight loss segment right now. That's what I'm feeling, Chef AJ. I mean, I don't know. He's breaking down science and mind, body, spirit. You're on mute.
I'm sorry about that. Dr. Price, I host a summit every year called The Truth About Weight Loss. Dr. Batiste has been a guest expert for the past several years, but next year you are going to be one, I hope.
Okay, yeah, not a problem, Chef AJ. You know, I got you.
Thank you.
Yes. No, I mean, you cannot address someone without taking care of the whole person. I think that's one of the things that 2020 and 2019 has really revealed to the world, is that this idea of social determinants of health, of where a person lives, where they play, where they work, where they die, where they pray, are as equally important towards their health state.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that it's still impactful inside of communities of color across the nation, is that you have these things where I tell a patient, okay, I want you to go out and eat healthfully. And they're like, well, how do I do it? Like, you're trying to teach people how to do it, why it's important. Then they go out and it's like, they look around them and they're in these crucibles of conflict. All they have are just food deserts and food swamps around them. And we're telling them, well, they're not compliant. Then we prescribe them a pill that is far more pricey than they can afford. But we're so rushed and so focused on what we're doing as opposed to them that they leave our office and we say, well, they're non-compliant.
Right.
So I'm going to ignore them when they come in because they really don't want care. Yeah. So now I make an assumption. I have a bias that then supersedes in terms of the care I deliver. And so this is why these conversations are so very much so important.
Yes, indeed.
And hearing how you and the likes of Dr. Baxter Montgomery, you all are in the community. You're actually looking at a person's lifestyle. You're actually trying to address not only the components of what they eat, but why they should eat it, how they should eat it, and stressing the importance of it, I think is phenomenal. It's phenomenal, man. That's some good stuff.
It is. It's good work to be doing.
That's some good stuff. So you the business person was presenting to you $1 million plan, right? To kind of blow you up and become like this pharmaceutical kingpin, right? What's the plan? Where is Dr. Price going to be? Where's Dr. Price in the next 5 years, 10 years? What are you doing?
Well, the beautiful thing is, so I'm starting right now, everything is going amazing. Like, I moved back here in 2018 after being out of the States for almost 5 or 6 years, wrote a book. And I honestly thought I'd promote the book for six weeks, 6 months, maybe, and then move back. I was leaving because of the climate of America at the time. It was very negative. And it went so well. And people supported so much, and the reviews, and they just kept me here. And so the vision now is, so I'm in the midst of starting a fruit company. And so exotic tropical fruits. And then that's eventually going to lead to a farm, which is going to have a healing center on it. And so we're expecting to have that up in the next 3 years, give people an opportunity and a space to heal, recover, rebuild, and unlearn and relearn ways to heal, maintain health, and understand life a little bit different. Reacquaint themselves with nature too, because that's something that I had to do as well. You know, so many people are like afraid of nature, like getting their hands in the soil or petting animals or being in nature. And I think the more we become one with nature again, the more we'll become one with ourselves. Because when you think about it, we always say, you know, you are what you eat. And we literally are. Like, we are the food that we eat. So if you eat fast processed, you're going to be fast processed. But you eat nature, then you become nature. And so that's what everything is headed. That's the vision, to create the farm, the healing center on it, the fruit company, and to just give people spaces to heal and education around that.
Man, that's powerful. We need you in our community. We need more people like you. We need to support you so you can do all this stuff. We don't want you leaving and going tracing around the world for 5, 6, 10 years. We want you here making a change where you're needed, right? Because this is a spot that is needed. The disparities are stark, and we need a change to happen. And so it's the likes of you and others out there who are really kind of driving the conversation, and that's what's important.